so fucking fast. More length on this for sure. This thing is so zoomed in though. Look at my fatty McFat back. Alright, what is this? Nice. What up? Can y'all see me? What? You can see me? What? It's not supposed to be streaming until 9:55. Why would it? I don't know. This stuff is crazy. I don't like this camera too well. I thought it was going to be alright, but it's not that great. And it is quite zoomed in. I can see and hear me. Okay, well, how well can you hear me? I mean, probably can hear me pretty well now, I assume. But, yeah. Just testing out my new mic. So, hi. I'm in the basement, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of grow tents full of different LEDs. Got a lot of little Amazon review items, little 300 watts and 600 watts. Actually got a new 2000 watt, I think. I'm hoping coming, 2000 watt equivalent coming pretty soon. So the mic is great. Well, that's good. So yeah, a lot of different things, but just trying to get this set up on PC to see what it's like, figure out how it works, and then maybe get things going. Better times a day. But yeah, we've got a lot of different LEDs. I've got some HLG lights that I'm kind of rebuilding. Just a bunch of different lights. I'll give a tour. I'm soon to make a video. Oh, my work? My work is something. Yeah. I try to do what I can. I've got shootouts coming up at the beginning of the year is when I'm going to start everything. I've got shootouts coming up. Nectar for the Gods #4. Royal Gold, Soil, Cocoa, Pro Mix, Detroit Soil Company, M3, and there's 2 or 3 others. I think Aurora Innovations has got a soil, hot soil that I'm going to test. And so there's going to be a soil shootout. There's going to be a microbe shootout still that I'm planning. The original Tribus, not the specific grow or bloom, but Tribus Herb, Mammoth, Photo Plus, Lazarus, oh god, there's so many that I was shooting out. Great White, because that's always been a staple. And then Azos and Mycos kind of as a control, because you always want roots when you're growing regardless. So you're going to do Azos and Mycos no matter what. And then there's still work to be done in the barn, the main barn, the 6K downstairs, and the 12K downstairs, all HPS, and the 6K upstairs, all HPS, which will be metal halide and HPS. So the way I'm moving forward, because it's so much. I've got what, 30, basically 4 plants per 1,000 watt, and right here I'm basically sitting on the fuck am I sitting on here? I just did this math last night, but I'm so tired. 8, 16, 24, 8, 16, 24, fucking, and then those would be 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So 36 plant sites just within all the tents right here. All LEDs in all these different tents. Some of them, like this tent's got 3 different LEDs. That one's got 3 LEDs. That's got an induction light. The one right in the center's got an induction light, but which I've never played with, so I'm gonna just be playing with that and seeing what that does. And there's 2 tents in the back in the dark there, which I should turn the lights on. Alexa, turn on LED tent 2. And here's some of the purple. So I got some purples, I got some whites. Alexa, turn on induction light. Mammoth is still quite amazing. I agree with that too. Yeah, we're just gonna turn on some of it here, but Mammoth is definitely amazing. But there is a lot of stuff out there, and I just, every day, you know, I look at a lot of publications and read a lot, and like Bigfoot mycorrhiza, the black bag, OCG fam, 20% off. It's not bad for the money, and it's one of those that I'm also going to try. But it's kind of a, there's going to be a matrix to the testing, but it is going to be like some liquid against some granule. So, but I mean, it's cost. Like liquid, you're still mostly paying for water. Granule usually gets you more better. So, you know, like I'm really personally leaning toward Nectar for the Gods moving forward with the larger commercial grows, even though it's hard to conceptualize how a person could functionally use nectar commercially. It kind of doesn't store well. It takes a lot to break up. It molecularly binds with everything. So you have to buy what you need and mix what you need and feed what you need. So it's hard to do it in more of a commercial. And you know, as I'm sitting here, you know, at 36,000 watts equivalent total, like that's the level I'm at, you know, where I'm basically seed all the way to harvest 3 times a year, because it's the only way I can manage it. I've heard of all of them. I've never tried them yet. God, yeah, there's so much. I'm trying. Yeah, MPK Raw is definitely one that that's excited me, and I've never gotten my hands on it. It's, you know, sitting there in Grand Rapids Hydroponics like years ago. He was one of the first people to have it, and the idea that you could kind of combine and mix and match, you know, I thought you can go far with this. And I know a lot of people, you know, make their own nutrients too, so I've been studying some of that. I think Grateful Grower makes his own nudes. And of course, Green Gene. Oh, one of the, I have to do Hurricane Hydroponics. I really want to do a more inclusive Nectar for the Gods run now, SLF 100 with it and all that. I want to do New Millennium again along with it. But I also want to do Jax 321 to kind of lean a little more toward like the NPK Raw, because I've heard really great things about it. And again, it's cost over yield. And if the yield and the quality can be there, I mean, with last year's 6-way shootout, you know, yields were only 10% away from each other, worst to best, but quality by far, Nectar for the Gods, and ironically, New Millennium right behind it. And, you know, still nobody up here in like the Lansing area, Flint, or half of Detroit has New Millennium. So And it's a good line. It's a clean line, and I like it if you want to do a bottled line. So yeah, 60 gallons per 8 ounces. Wow. 240 mils will get you 60 gallons. 240 mils, 60 gallons. Yeah, I mean, that's a little better than the average. That's a little better than the average, like, bottle. That's not bad. And yeah, I mean, but it's all about the price. And from what I remember, NPK raw, it might be a lot better now, but NPK raw was kind of expensive. But I haven't looked back at that because it's so inclusive. And I just downloaded and read cover to cover twice now the OCG the Nectar for the Gods Bible 4.0, and it's got some pretty good information in it. And so I really do want to do another nectar run just because I've got so many good genetics. Cannabis Cup is about to hit, so we're going to be down there. More genetics. I still am looking for that really good gelato. I'm still looking for the wedding cake strains that I don't have. Geez, I mean, now I could even look at some of the good combinations that people have for glue. Yeah, Winter Frost. Winter Frost was really good. The price point is really good on it. And, man, I mean, it's right there on the YouTube channel. It popped. And it was right behind Nectar for the Gods in quality and just slightly more in yield. So, but the Nectar stuff was just frostier than shit, man. And my eyes are just bad enough where I can't quite see that screen. Way too expensive, honestly. The high nitrogen, yeah. And that's one thing, like, Nectar for the Gods has been kind of preaching. Like, they have a few different nitrogen sources from amino chains that break apart and become a form of nitrogen. Like, they're not preaching nitrogen, they're preaching quality nitrogen or derivative protein-based nitrogen that leads to quality instead of just a lot of explosive green vegetative growth without thick cell walls or support. Like, it grows too fast, it doesn't grow strong enough, and it just grows a weak plant that's more susceptible to bugs. And that's another thing that I've been doing a lot of research on, and I'm probably going to do some sort of shootout or testing. I don't know how. I have microbial testing kits now that test good and bad microbe levels, NPK testers too. I'm working on getting some serious money up to get digital NPK testers for real-time data, but I want to, like, induce mold and mildew spores and test the microbial levels and actually see what sterilization products, like the one from Hurricane Hydroponics, supposedly incredible. Like, you can use it all throughout your whole grow, and it hits it cleans it, and it's gone. And a lot of people make these claims, but I'm looking for sterilization products to set a room up so well that as long as you're clean and nothing dirty comes into the room, and you can keep the bugs at bay by using sprays or whatever you want to use, that you can basically do a complete IPM free, pest free, foliar free type of grow. I've gotten away from using silica because I just don't really see the benefit anymore in really any form. I've gotten away from CalMag because I've corrected deficiencies by basically understanding better how to unlock the magnesium in the soil, even the cocoa, and releasing it to the plant. So gotten rid of any CalMag, and then when I'm doing compost teas, I'm brewing them and I'm letting them foam up and I'm letting them be active, but I'm letting them die out. I don't want any sugars left. I don't want to put any fucking sugar in my plants, in my mycorrhiza, in my soil, any of it, because I want there to be microbes ready to go. Throw them in the soil, they lock onto the roots, they feed off the roots. That's it. Any sugars, anything that's in there, I want them to consume it, get it the fuck out of there, so there's no sugars to feed any bugs. And lots of airflow underneath the canopy on top of the soil. A lot of the flying insects can't land. I don't know, my eyes are so itchy today. I've been working a lot, but I'm trying to get away from foliar too, and that kind of sucks because like Bloom Chaos, so good in foliar to unlock all the Herculean harvest, all the calcium, all that into the plant. You hit it with Bloom Chaos, but you can still feed Bloom Chaos, but you won't get quite the effect. But the less you put on the leaves, especially obviously through flowering, the cleaner it's going to be. And if you don't have to bring in any ladybugs, any hornets, wasps, whatever the fuck you want, you don't have anything on your plant ever. You got the cleanest med around. So, I'm trying to just find different ways to completely clean and produce the cleanest meds without putting anything on them. Probably during veg and right to the flip, but really, I don't even like doing that. Let's see what you said here. Yeah, spider mites suck all around. And that's the thing. Like this is Michigan, and we have major mite issues all around. And that's another thing I've gotten away from. Like Azamax, Azatrol, my plants never responded very well to it. They were always droopy, and it just stressed them out too much. That feeding foliarum, it would work, but it was never a great solution. It's just healthy, hardy plants. I had a little mite infestation on my last little seed pop run, pheno hunt. I got a video on it, but not the mites. But one plant had mites heavy, and the rest of the plants, the rest of the genetics, a lot of it is genetics, but the rest of the plants that were literally touching it never got them. They just were too healthy, too good, no problem. So, and I found that like with my old grows going all the way back to like say 2012, like in my heyday, I had a Vanilla Kush and a Gigabud, and I had a Acapulco Gold and a what was that one that I always sold like 2 to 4 to 1? Man, it the Apollo. I probably already said that. Those over time from doing foliar sprays, from doing like Azamax and God, what did I used to spray? Azamax, Serenade, Captain Jack's Dead Bug, and then Heavy 16 foliar. I'm still a really big fan of Heavy 16 foliar. If I had to foliar, it's really got everything in it that you'd want. But it does have a little bit of sugars on the leaves and stuff like that, so I can draw the bugs in, so it can be a little tricky. But those genetics, they it came to a point where I didn't have to spray, and so I'm like, it may be popping seeds, gonna have at least 20 mothers of the new genetics. I'm gonna try to go for 120 plants 3 times a year. So that first run, probably gonna be some dirty, but I think I can build up on those at the beginning, and then the next runs, the next wave off of those mothers are going to be a lot more stout and a lot more resistant to pests. But yeah, as for lighting, well, actually, let me see some of these things. Hold on. Let me read here. Yeah, it really sucks. There's not a ton you can do because most people wouldn't really smoke it. You can wash your buds after harvest, but them webs, they still kind of stick around. But any of the organic, like All Per Plus, he's got a really good product that's like combination of like cinnamon oil and all those kind of like natural herbs and stuff. And I did use that, and it drove most of them away. But you could look up bud washing to reclaim that product, to reclaim that harvest, and definitely get clean material. But I would probably recommend Yeah, it's tough in week 8. It's hard because you're still going to be left with, you know, citronella or cinnamon oil or something on those. Even with a bud wash, it can be hard to get off. Pure Crop 1. Look into Pure Crop 1, though. That might work for you. They make some pretty big claims. I got a couple samples. I checked them out. They seem to be organic. They're claiming that they can kill all that stuff up and not compromise the integrity of the actual product. But I would still bud wash to wash that off after the fact. But Pure Crop 1 is a new company, got new products. Definitely look them up. All right. Right. Yeah, because you don't want to smoke anything dirty, and I mean that's foliar, like foliar and veg, you know, definitely. But then it comes to a point where it's like you can't foliar, but you want to, you really want to. But I just stay away. I don't think. I mean, maybe spraying water, like you could physically spray water, a tiny bit of soap or something. Plants always respond fairly well to that, but you're basically just trying to wash the plants down and get them dried off quick. And that is about all, you know, that I would probably do in flowering moving forward. I'm really trying to get away from anything that's going to hang around on the plant and potentially draw any bugs in or sit there and cause any physical damage. And it's just, I've seen a little too much lately. And I think sticking with the teas and, you know, even in soil, moving forward with soil, I still like the Psycho Cocoa, but I want to add more peat moss to it. Because if I'm going to be using Nectar for the Gods, I want to do a 50-50, but of like Psycho Cocoa. But it's no longer Psycho Cocoa peat in those big $60 blocks. It's the best bang for your buck on soil. It's soft. I like cocoa that's soft because if it's soft to the feel, it's soft to the roots. If you got cocoa that seems to be kind of sharp and painful, especially if it's got like wood chips as a filler, and wood chips and shit, they don't do anything. They don't break down like they claim with the microbes. They really don't. Peat moss will break down. It's high in magnesium, and it'll benefit a lot of these nutrient lines, and a lot of these microbe lines can unlock it. And so you won't have your CalMag issues. And I'm going to, humic, yeah. You're not going to have these issues. But I'm working on probably mixing ProMix PX with the Psycho Cocoa Peat and then just throwing in 10% of the volume is going to be peat, and then like probably 10% of the volume. I use a lot of Mycos. It's probably going to be like 10% of the volume. I use so much Mycos, it's just pure cocoa, and you just see granules of Mycos everywhere. But it makes a huge difference in the roots. But oh god, I'm still having problems kind of reading just across the border from you. Oh, you're in Canada, nice, dude. Was supposed to be pest resistant. Blue cheese. Yeah, I don't, blue cheese has always been more of like a lankier sativa. I've actually never, ever grown a blue cheese or a blue dream or any of them. I tend to end up having my better successes with shorter, bushier indica dominant, but I've had some pretty good 50-50s. One thing that I've done, and I'm focused on this trip to the Cannabis Cup next weekend, whatever, is getting, again, even more sativas. Because I looked at my bouquet, and then I looked at, and I kept buying, and I'm like, they're more indica dominant. And I still have patients that definitely like sativas. So I'm still trying to fill out sativas where I'm hopefully at least I'm going to end up with like, God, I'm still, if I'm lucky, I'll have 40% sativas if I'm lucky, sativa leaning or sativa. Been using lemons, peppers, and garlic. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, speaking of garlic, that is one thing that we did use as a preventative because we thought we saw a couple little webs early on that same grow. That was way early on that same grow before we were in flowering. We used, General Organics Exile, I think it's called. I got the bottle upstairs. And it's basically like 50% garlic oil. And oh my God, dude, I was coughing and puking my brains out. But the plants, nothing. Like that stuff will burn your skin like weeks after. We were still brushing up. And it wasn't flowering yet, so it was a preventative. But we were brushing up. My girl was brushing up on the leaves, and it burnt the skin, man. And it was just so strong. But it freaking worked, man. There was nothing again until that very end. I got that one plant that got infected. It worked so well. But man, it was crazy. But the plants weren't affected by it. I left it on. I didn't even wash that stuff off because it was a preventative. I wanted it to grow through it. And the buds never, I mean, there's nothing there for the buds to around it, but it just stayed there and it worked. I was kind of surprised with that one. It's definitely a different way to go at it with the garlic. Cinnamon has always been good. And then growing mint plants too. So I'm working on that. This weekend I'm working on the barn, like pulling everything out. I got 4 duct fans to replace. I got some air pumps to replace. I got new reservoirs to go in there. I got to build more pots and get things laid out, power wash all the trays and stuff like that. But and then when everything's out, I got to paint and just repaint everything and, you know, start re-sterilizing, cleaning glass, swapping out bulbs. Yeah, I don't know. Lemons and citric acid would make the absorption rate a little better. I don't know, the sweetness of the lemon, I kind of stay away from that just because of the sugar. Seed sprout tea has been a good foliar for me. Brown Guy 420. I've had really good luck on my outdoor gardens right now. 115. So a blue cheese pulled 115 on 120 watt DIY. You know, I haven't really paid attention, but I know that there's a lot of nutrient lines that have, if that's what we're talking about, I know there's a lot of nutrient lines, even some so-called like 50-50 organic kind of mixed ones. And they were talking about like when you talking about like organics, you put it on Oregon's level, you go to the government website, a lot of nutrient lines won't float in Oregon, and I think it was because of that acid, but I can't remember. So no movie. You can come down and watch a movie. I'm just testing things. I just want to see how this mic works. This camera's not quite up to snuff, I don't think. It seems like it should be clearer for 720p, but no, dude, that 115 grams on 120 watts, that's incredible. I mean, you know, I had these the HLG 240 1860 or whatever it is. Driver, it was like 240 watts on 4 of the HLG 132 boards. And in that tent right there. And what was nice about it, it literally, except for obviously the light penetration factor, it literally was, you know, was bright and better spectrum than an HPS 1000, but spread out in a 4x8. And it was incredible. I had all those mothers under it and dark green, not super stretchy, even though the penetration cover wasn't there, which was fine because, you know, the lower branches can stretch trying to search for the light, but the top branches stayed put, and it did a great job. And you're talking $200 for that setup all day, all night, no heat sinks needed. Prop up the tent so it doesn't overheat. That's it. It's just nothing. They were just 9 watt, 800 lumen bulbs from Dollar Tree. What? 9 watt, 800 lumen LED bulbs? That's killer, dude. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, even like these cheap Chinese companies, like some of the Epistars and stuff they're using, some of them are using the Samsung, you know, 15 elements in them, and I'm blown away at some of these lights, dude. I got to put a video together because I got so many different LED lights. I just got 3 more. One of them's got a cob. I haven't even tore it apart. The drivers are really sweet. It's a 320 watt actual power draw in a chassis that's only like this big. And it's got 6 cobs on it. That shit you not are like 1.25 inches square. So, and just huge cobs. And they're full spectrum cobs. So there's 100 different elements in each cob, covering all these different spectrums, and it's an incredible light. It's super bright, and shit. I mean, I think that one's gonna probably outperform some of the 2000s in the back tent that are, you know, more of your Epistar mixed spectrum, mixed LEDs. But you know, some of these are dual element with lenses and brighter than shit. But I still think that full spectrum white that I just got with them 6 cobs are gonna blow it out. Bud Factor. You know, I'm still not into advanced nutrients at all. I've never played with Bud Factor X or Finisher. The only thing I did was pH up and down because it's good value. And a couple of years ago, AN finally put NPK values on it. So you actually can kind of figure that you're giving it like a 0.50 boost when you do a pH down. So if you actually do the math, you can actually kind of ratio in what your NPK is going to be changing when you dose it. But so that was nice, and the price point is good for the concentrated pH up and down. So AN, and then Big Bud and Overdrive. So like when Heavy 16, I did a Heavy 16, I did a Shootout, and I did Heavy Fire. And Heavy Firing shit. I did it twice too. I grew twice with the full Heavy 16. Prime Enhancer is good. I think the bases are good. And I like the foliar. But fucking Fire was trash. And I went back to Big Bud and Overdrive. And then eventually went back to full Psycho Newts when Rhizofuel came out. Rhizofuel kelp derived. Fuck, pre-flowers the size of my thumb. It was killer. You know, week 2, and just mad stacking. It was one of the more noticeable products, which I got videos on that, the YouTube channel. I know a guy who did 1 ounce on 200 watts. Samsung strips. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to do better than that. Some of these lights that I got are pretty powerful, and they're Amazon review, so I either paid like, you know, as little as like $5 for them after I got my refund or whatever. I mean, they're no-name Chinese companies, but everybody kind of knows that the market, like China knows how to manufacture stuff now, and they're coming around. And so they're not putting shit blurples together. They're putting powerful pinks together. They're putting some whites together, putting some cobs together. And so I have a whole crazy array. I've got, you know, a couple MRHUAs, Mr. Huas, that have each spectrum section has a 4 LEDs of that same exact spectrum, and they look like the Samsung type. But again, I haven't gone to board level on those yet. So eventually I'm tearing all these apart and making some killer shit out of them. But incredibly bright light for 190 and 230 watt for the bigger one I got. It was a 10 by 8 and a 10 by 7 row with 4 LEDs per segment. So it ended up like, what the hell did it end up? It would be 80 times 4. So it ended up at like 240 LEDs in some of these lights, and they're fucking bright. So, and I've grown under a lot of these too, and they've given me good results. I just haven't flowered under any of them. Now I've got a couple of them too that are very freaking bright, and they're a little more pink. And I had Ocean Grown Genetics Ninja Fruit, and the Ninja Fruit was kind of tall and kind of lanky, and it kind of forced it, even though it was 24-0, it kind of forced the hormone change with the spectrum, and it was forcing it to show pre-flowers and white hairs and shit. So yeah, you definitely can't grow under pink light. It's a little too much hormonal change and not enough photosynthetic effect, and it will kind of force certain strains to just fucking go into flowering without even needing 12-12. So, but that makes me feel good that when I do put them into 12-12, it's going to be just retarded amounts of hormonal change within the plant. So, yeah, I've seen some of them Samsung strips too. There's somebody else on Instagram, maybe it's you, that posted something a few days ago, and it looked like it was just like 4 rows of strips separated. And there's a lot of people that that build lights like that. Is it King LED? And a couple other ones that have, what were those guys? They're just at some of the shows up here. And yeah, they still build, single strip, aluminum heat sink, rail, stretch it out, bring it in, angle it out, angle it in, combine them all together, whatever you need. And it works incredibly well, but I still think having those digiboards, I think, are the best way moving forward. There's so many options. There's 800s now. There's fucking, 266s, the 132s. There's so many different options, and you can just easily put your own fixtures together for next to no wattage and dim them if you want on a 10-cent pot. Finisher from Green Planet. Smoking some Thin Mint. 16 ounces? Look at that, 16 ounces. Finisher. Wasn't Finisher just the molasses additive, the humics in the molasses? Isn't that what that was? Because I know the Aussie Tonic is sitting on everybody's shelf, so they don't replace it. It doesn't go anywhere. But the Aussie Tonic changed a little bit, and it became a different name, and the dosage rate I think went a little bit down, but they added more humics or something to that too. I don't know. Green Planet was it was a lot of yield, it was a lot of green, it was a lot of foliage, it was a lot of bud sites, but it wasn't good quality at all. It was the worst quality in the 6-way shootout. And that's comparing it against Mills. And Mills fucking sucked. So 16 ounces off of 200 watts. Damn. Yeah, that's impressive. That's really impressive. I mean, people are always talking about like 2 pounds or 3 pounds per 1,000 watts, or 3 pounds per light, and that right there is beating that. You're basically like almost into like the 4 pounds per light kind of setup. But I mean, it's entirely possible if you can provide coverage throughout the plant and just top the living piss out of it and feed it right without any stress. Your yield will be insane if the genetic allows it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They won't yellow. That's true. It took me forever to finish that fucker out. That's kind of what like Scott Ostrain's talking about, like nitrogen. It's not what you think it is. Everybody's like, nitrogen, let's feed a CalMag, or let's put something in because they don't look quite as green. And they're doing the Pegasus potion for that, and within hours to the next day, much greener. And it's not urea, and it's not what are the common combinations for nitrogen? It's some protein chain that the ends break off and becomes basically a nitrogen from a protein derived. And it's just a much better form of nitrogen. Plants can use it better, build better with it. Of course, with the added calcium, stronger cell walls, better support. I had one good pull with my last pull. I stopped feed at week 5. Yeah. No, I've got Green Planet, and they and that was the other thing too. I talked to Green Planet reps at CannaCon, and again at it wasn't the Cannabis Cup. It was probably at Buddy's or one of the others. There's so many grow stores that I've been to and all their events, but they threw me a bunch of bottles of their new Rosin, because I told them like their yield potentially could have been there, but their quality just isn't there. And they're like, well, yeah, they wouldn't say, yeah, that's why they have this, but magically they have, a bud stacking, trichome building, terpene producing product now they didn't have before, because they know. It's kind of like the same thing with Psycho. Like Psycho was the opposite. The quality was always good, but the yield was down. So that's when, Rhizofield came out, and that helped the yield a bit. And then doing the Grow XL trick, same thing. Rhizofield will get you to the bud sites, and then hit and Grow XL in week 2, flares out them root hairs, stops it from stretching, huge PK boost, superphosphoric acid, boom. And it just locks it in and just starts stacking like crazy. And so then the yield is finally back. And that's why I kind of stayed so loyal to Cycle up until pretty much and through the first grow at this property now. So, yeah. Yeah, they probably did. I never liked the way that Green Planet was what the fuck were they per liter? They were always per liter instead of per gallon. Like, because then when you're like, oh shit, per gallon, that's like fucking 24 mils a gallon for some of this shit. Like, we're talking fucking base, sorry, I'm tired. We're talking base mils numbers here, like 22 to 24 fucking mils a gallon for A and B mils in flour. It's crazy. Yeah, I know, Canada. Shut up. But yeah, I mean, and then the price point, like some of the stuff, and when they wanted it and how much they wanted it, it's not good. It's not a good price. Like I don't know. I can't get behind Green Planet. I just really can't. And this is the fucking 3-part. They gave me the 3-part again with Ryzen, and they gave me the 2-part, and then Emerald Harvest. Like, and I was hoping Emerald Harvest would do pretty good too, but Emerald Harvest was 4th on quality. So you got Green Planet last, you got fucking Mills second to last, and you got Emerald Harvest is 4th. The Nectar was 1st. New Millennium was 2nd. Motherfucking Elite was 3rd, and then Emerald Harvest. And Elite beat out Psycho 5 bottles. I was pretty impressed with that. Quality too. So that was kind of surprising how well Elite did. They're claiming they're more of a protein-based type of setup, but they basically just have 2 major mycorrhiza sets to really set the roots in. Yeah, and that's the other thing. They're kind of sold in stores. Like I don't get the marketing, and I think that's why a lot of people have a problem. There's no real defined social footprint from Green Planet. There's no real. There is a 3-part. There is a 2-part, but they're not marketed that way. And so yeah, you basically got, if you kind of think about it, you got for sure 3 lines and really more like 4 lines, but you don't really know what to put together to even grow with. So I think there's a major marketing issue, and they just got to streamline. Like there's barely a difference between the 2-part and the 3-part, or whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know. So I don't know. There's a major issue there. But again, so I'm not putting much into Green Planet. Not right off the bat. I've got enough spots because, I got these LEDs, and then that way I've got a 2K, and then a 1K, a 1K, a 1K, and a 1K. So I've got 24 plant sites there, 36 plant sites here. So we're talking 60 plants, 4 plants per light, standard scenario, just here. Out there, we're fucking, what am I sitting on? 48 plus 24. So we're filling out this card for sure, but it's not enough to waste my energy on Green Planet again. It's just not. Like, I'll just burn that shit up in veg. Like, I've never had a problem with any nutrient line really in veg. But yeah, fuck, you're right. So like with Psycho, you have base A, B, fucking flower A, B, you know, so, and I see there's more lines doing that too. I don't know. I in my opinion, like, I did a powder shootout. Powders just don't do shit. Like, combine powders, 3 or 4 different products. It still wasn't enough to really morph a plant. Like, I was a busy grower even back then. I'm still a busy grower now. If I'm lucky, I can top it once. If I'm not lucky, I take the hedge trimmer to it. And that's all I got. And if I can put Psycho in there with Rhizo and Grow Excel, and it makes it short and bushy, and I get a better yield and still get better quality because there's very specific things in very specific bottles, then so be it. But again, it's all about the price. So cheers, dog. Word up. Got my weed card and shit. I got my belly hanging out. I'm trying to lose this weight. I'm down 4 pounds, so I'm happy. But I'm heavy. But yeah, Emerald Harvest, I think I'll give another run. I talked to them. They gave me their 2-part and their 3-part. I still have, God, it's so funny. The price point, if you go to Grower's House, actually right now online, I got extra bottles of the Root Wizard. Most grow supply stores, they want 70 fucking bucks for this by itself. You can buy everything else for about the same price that you can go to Grower's House and get everything for, minus this, for the same price. Like 132 bucks, you can get the whole 1 liter kit. And it does pretty well. But you can't go to a grow store. So if you go to a Grower's House, right now they got discounts, I think 20% on newts. You can probably pay less than 132 for the whole 3-part Grow Bloom, Micro, the Root Wizard, the what is it? The Emerald Harvest, King Cola, and the other 2, and be set up. But I got a bunch of that stuff ready to go. Yeah, Jack's 321 is definitely on the docket. That one I'm definitely interested in. Green Jeans videos on that. Luckily, I captured them before it disappeared, and I've got those videos. So, and his work was really good. I wish more people were able to see that. Canna, that's another one too. I've never done Canna. Cano Man 707 back in the day, and his outdoor hydroponic grows in the woods. Massive outdoor hydroponic plants in like 100 to 300 gallon pots in his outdoor showers and shit. But Canna is definitely one I've been interested in. Yeah, the New Millennium Rep. This is the weirdest shit. You can go down to Grand Rapids Hydroponics in Michigan. You can get it. You can get it from Horizon Hydroponics Depot or whatever they call it. Their main distributor store for all of Michigan. And that's it. Like, I've been trying to bring it to all these other grow supply stores, all the way in Flint, all the way in Lansing, all the way here, all the way there. But I'll go in. I was doing this shootout, and I go in, and luckily they got samples of autumn. I'm like, great. I was running low on autumn and running low on equinox. And they'd have 1 liter samples. Like, what the fuck is this rep doing? Just bring the kit, put it on the shelf. If it sells, collect the money. And then bring them another kit until people see that it's there and it works. If it's not on anybody's shelves, nobody's ever going to fucking know. And it's a good line. The only dirty bottle in the line was Equinox. It had a little granular stuff you'd think would be like Azos or Mycos. Like little fine cat litter that didn't really break down even with SLF 100. Mammoth P Photo Plus, nothing really did anything with it. So it would, and I'm flood and drain in the air pots. I use those air pots. And I use small air pots too. That's why I'm kind of I go overboard with the Azos. That's 3.5 gallons. I'm talking 48 plants in the barn. Only takes me, 3 bricks? $240? 60, 80, or 60, 120, fucking, yeah, 180 bucks. I can do 48 plants and grow massive plants in just 3.5 gallons. Because the auto pruning, flood and drain, water Gets in from everywhere. The roots still chase it down because the water recedes. As the water recedes, the fucking air gets sucked in everywhere, which makes it better oxygenation. Blah blah blah. 4 times a week. 4 times a week is pretty much how much I would feed. It would start to get pretty dry. I'm a stickler about letting these fuckers dry out. And again, with less soil, it would dry out a little quicker. And it was nice because they would dry out. And so a lot of pests, a lot of bugs and stuff that usually kind of live toward the top, get toward that heat, couldn't really live. There's not a lot of water left there. The water would still be, gravity, catatonic exchange, it would still be there. But the roots would chase it into the tray. And it did such a good job that I think it great yields off of small amounts of soil. Because again, these commercial growers, like if you can grow with pots out of auto prune, still produce incredible amounts of roots, but take half the soil of like a Root Maker 7, and so be it. That's a huge amount of savings every grow. Huge amount of root balls that you don't have to worry about, getting rid of and lifting and moving and stuff. So that's how I always did it, and it's always paid some dividends. So Crop for the veg and shootout. Yeah. There's so many good, interesting things down there. The most Jax 321, and from what I've seen from Hurricane Hydroponics, I don't know a ton about them, but I've got a lot of their stuff. And I kind of like the old House and Garden style, where they do have like the shooting powder and stuff like that. It gives you a little more control, something that's pretty powerful. I've still got sitting on my shelf. I really should. I gotta get that barn clean because I'm gonna set up the studio here and get a couple more mics and set up studios out there in the barn, and then in the back lab. So I got my lab, my rosin press, my tumbler, and all that good shit. And so I want to set studios in all of them, so I can just sit down and broadcast. But I've got Extreme Gardening's old line that was more complex than Psycho. And they got like their Grow XL and their shooting powder and their Rhizo powder. Oh, you can't hear me, can you? Yeah, I got a little too far away. Sorry. What am I doing? Let me change my shirt. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see this. Yeah, this is a Amazon review item microphone. I don't even know the name. And then I just bought like a little $17 Phantom power supply to power it, which about doubles the audio quality, and it seems to be incredibly clear. So the camera's an old Logitech 720p that I've had for like a million years. And it's not bad. I was working on a Sony Handycam HDV CX290, trying to see if I could get that to work as a webcam, and I can't. And like my Nikon D3300 does not do webcam either. So I've been trying to do a lot of different things to get better camera up and running. So I'll probably just have to buy a nice webcam. And I'm trying to fucking Instagram for Windows 10 is, at one point in time, I had Instagram for Windows 10 that did live streaming. And it's gone. And people have complained, and Microsoft said they were coming out with it back in like 2016, 2017. And it happened, and then it doesn't. So I really am trying to set this rig up for Instagram and live streaming that way too. I think it'd be a lot easier to produce content that way. So, yeah, eventually I'm working my way back into like the Weed Nerd shows and some of these other guys' shows and stuff like this. When I, obviously at the beginning of the year, when I get all these grows and shootouts going, it's going to be a lot more time consuming. I'm going to be producing a lot more content, a lot more pictures and posts. And I mean, there's going to be so many different things. I got lighting shootouts that I still got to do. I got the Natural X Ushio bulb 20 2200 micromole against the Sunmaster bulb at 1000 watt 2100 micromole against the Sunmaster, or not Sunmaster, but the Parmax Sunlight System distributed Parmax bulbs, 1100 watts on the Galaxy Select Watts, which I have a ton of those ballasts. They're the best ballasts in the world. They'll fire everything. They probably will fire DE, but I haven't tested it yet. But 3840 micromole at 1100 watts on the Galaxy Select Watt, tested in a sphere, HPS. And then I got that Digilamp, single-ended HPS. So I wanted to do something for people that just had a ton of hoods all set up just like I do, and were looking for a different option. If they had a good digital ballast, and they could fire these bulbs. So I even went out, paid $160 for the Digilamp. It's 315 CMHs in one HPS fixture. And it fucking works. And not only does it work at 1100 watts. So 366 watts per single CMH element. And I accidentally didn't have the fans on, the ducting fans on. I got a push-pull going through all the tents. And then the other tent over there is just like a pull through the lights to exhaust all the heat. Forgot to turn that shit on. All the fucking lights. Everybody's bulb ran all night. Not a problem. Not a fucking problem. No flicker, no burnouts, no failed elements. They were all the same lumens, the same lux that they were tested in the next day. Everything was fine. So I've got that shootout to do. And then, of course, I just picked up, too, I've got to still rebuild my HLG into some sort of frame or something that I can just hang. And I'm looking at probably getting at least one more 4x8 tent to put right there. And then I just picked up fairly inexpensively the what is it? The Nanolux DE600X2s. I picked up 2 of them, along with a pile of other equipment for like next to nothing. And these things were like barely used. So these bulbs are the 600 watt double-ended bulbs that have, and one's an HPS bulb and one is a metal halide bulb. And so with that, I'm thinking in the grow barn in the front where my photography studio is. And when a garage door opens, to hang the lights right there, right where it butts up to where the garage door opens. Both lights. 2,560 watts worth of mixed HPS and metal halide. Probably spread out between like a 5x5 space with their tight reflectors. And I'm probably looking at growing 4 pretty monstrous plants right in the front of the garage in that studio area. So that's going to be fucking sweet. And that's going to be something that I'm really looking forward to. And I might add a couple LEDs like lower and around. I might even add those HLGs just on like pedestals, just metal pedestals like up this high, just with an HLG panel, just to cover the lowers and to get more even light around the lowers, just to get big lollipopped, 5 foot, 6 foot around plants in that huge space. So that'll be interesting to see for sure. Yeah. But yeah, Jax 321 is definitely interesting for sure. That's a nutrient line that, it really, you want to just come down to what nutrient line can you use where you can put in microbes and they'll stay and they'll yield and the quality will be there and it's fairly inexpensive. So it doesn't kill your rhizosphere. You get the yield you want. It's fairly inexpensive. It's easy enough to use. And that's kind of the holy grail. So, and of course I'm still doing Z-Wave stuff. I never made my Z-Wave video, my grow automation video, and I still do more with that. I'm still working on the automatic watering system based on the mean average of 2 sensors per tray or per strain to then feed when the plant, is actually thirsty. And it's literally just based on you water the plant till it's full, you weigh it, or you put it in your hand and you tell the sensor it's watered or it's full or that's, moist. And then when it's pretty much almost to the point of wilting, you say, well, that's when you have to water it maybe plus 10%. And you tick it up, and then that's it. That's your endpoint. So you could have a black water or a white fire sensitive strain that, the roots are sensitive, root rot, problematic strains. And again, you get to try them out. The bugs don't survive. The microbes have to fight. The roots have to chase, which is what you want. You want them going down. You want them going wide. It's the same thing expresses in the canopy. And that's exactly what you want. So you can finally just literally set it and forget it. And the motherfuckers will feed when they're thirsty. And you'll get way better results. So awesome. So anyway, I don't know if anybody's even in here anymore or got any questions. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, peace, man. All right. Well, that was fun. At some point, I will put up a YouTube video or two going through my current projects and what I'm adding. I've got to mount a couple more lights. I just got another one upstairs. I just unboxed. So I got to get the reviews handled and then find a place for them and then take all my light readings again and get my lighting situations out here figured out. I just worked on putting all my air pots together and getting all of them at least in here set up. I got my trestle, so I'm putting up trestles next just to get everything ready. And then I got to deal with a little bit of airflow. I got to replace some of these air pumps on these two reservoirs because they're just loud and I can't have loud things. I might make a little tiny sound box for the air pumps or something so I can pretty much have everything running like I'm supposed to while recording right here and have it nice and quiet. It actually can be pretty quiet down here even with everything running, but yeah, so far so good. I got a couple LEDs over there I gotta fuck with too, so those are the cheapies. Yeah, there's 198. There's 198 in this one. It's actually pretty good for its small size. I got a little clone tent back there too. I got 2 cloners now, so I think I'm sitting on at least 120 clone sites. So yeah, things are coming together, but there's still a lot more work. That's pretty much what this whole weekend's going to be about, is that grow barn. So okay, well, this was fun.